What is up, everyone? This will be my jungle pathing guide. It's going to teach you everything you need to know for jungling, how to path, how to deal with cheese, the most annoying thing about jungle, and how to become the best player that you can be. So for starters, we're going to have a bunch of video clips I'm going to show you, and it's going to run down animations on all the champion encounters that we're going to run into. We're going to start with the most annoying part about jungle. It's cheese, level 2 cheese especially. Very common in this meta. I've been seeing a lot of level 2 cheese, and the most common occurrence is going to be you are Diana, you are on this blue buff. Enemy jungler is a disgusting level 2 cheese in Kindred. She will start red buff, the very common situation, or Raptors, and then they're going to try to cheese you while you do your blue, and then you move to Gromp. So this visual is going to show you exactly how it plays out. And a lot of times you're going to be caught with your pants down because, well, you're on Gromp. And if you're on Gromp as a level 2 jungler, you're going to be low. You're not going to have smite up. And the Kindred's going to be able to fight you with red buff and range auto. So this is what makes it really annoying. Level 2 cheese champions are really strong in this window. Kindred, Nidalee, Graves, range champions especially are prime examples, but there are a lot of other junglers that can just try to cheese you level 2. So you don't want to be caught with your pants down. So what you're going to do is react in the ways that I'm going to show you. So I have two great options. First, this is not where we want to be. Here is the option that I really like. Most important thing when you're playing against a strong level 2 jungler, start red buff. Just start red buff because red buff will give you survivability. It's going to give you the buff that you need to survive and actually be able to fight. And it's going to give you a safer, healthier clear. So if you're against a level 2 cheesy jungler, start red buff. And if you want to go even further, do what I just did in this clip. Drop the ward on your blue. Before red buff is up, before you're about to start your path, go to your top side and go drop this ward. This ward is going to show you if Kindred wants to farm your blue buff. She's going to show on a ward. And if you do see her on the ward, what does this do? It actually gives you this option on this clip. As you can see, we can counter invade the Kindred on her blue side, right? So we're not going to lose any jungle. This is most ideal, perfect situation is how you want to do it. If you're going to play against a level 2 cheeser, Kindred's going to invade you, right? She's going to see, oh, the Gromp is not here. She's not here. So most likely we'll just kind of pull the blue buff and you're going to see it on the ward, which is really good. You react by going to steal her blue buff. If you're really fast about it, if you get vision on Kindred right away, you can go just from red straight into this, do blue, do Gromp, even wolves if you like to, and then play as if this entire jungle is yours, right? This is going to be your path. This is going to be where you farm. And that's exactly what you're going to play to. And that's a very common thing. So start red, be careful, play around that window. And there are some situations where, for example, in this situation, we do the ward, but we don't see the Kindred, right? So what do? Do we just blind invade? No, we don't. We don't ever blind invade against a strong early game jungler, especially unless our champion is really strong. Most likely, no, it's not going to be. What you do is you just farm as if you're farming. You do the Krugs and then you do the Raptors. And by this time, for example, if the Kindred is cheesing you, she's going to either show by she's most likely going to show by pulling the blue. So in this situation, she's going to show, she'll finish the Gromp and then she'll do blue. Then you're going to be watching with your little eyes. And if you see the blue getting pulled, that's your go after 3 camps. Just go after Raptors and go take her 2 camps. Don't go for this one in that situation, because if you go for wolves, you're going to get caught in a very deep jungle position. In this situation, you're going to do these 2, and then you're going to do crab. And that's going to be a perfect timer where Kindred, even if she tries to run across the Sahara Desert, she's not going to reach you in that situation, and you're going to be A-okay. So I really like this situation. I like this pathing. This is how I react a lot of times. It's really important for that ward. You drop it a bit later if you can, but still make it to red buff to start on time. Very good for level 2 jungle cheese against Kindred. But let's say you really want to start blue buff. You really have attachment issues and you have a real good vibe with your blue buff. You want to start blue for whatever reason, but the Kindred is a Kindred and she's still going to want to destroy you on your Gromp. So in this situation, it is possible to play with this. I would recommend this as an option if you want to start blue. And what you're going to do is exactly as this video plays out. So first, we start blue. We say, hey, what about Gromp? No Gromp. We never do blue to Gromp against a level 2 cheeser. That's where they are that's all they know in their little 2 peanut brain cells. That's all they think about is me go Gromp, me kill person, no person, what? That's how they think, okay? And if you do this, what you're going to do is go to Wolf, right? We're going to skip Gromp, do Blue, and then Wolf Camp. And Wolf Camp, what's going to happen, most likely, sometimes the Kindred, the enemy jungler, will just like start Gromp or Blue, whatever. Sometimes they'll actually be a little bit smarter, be like, what if I check the Wolf Camp? And they'll see you on Wolf Camp, But in that situation, it's really safe to be here. You're not going to die because you have so many ways to get out. You can just go towards your exit area, which is really nice. And this area, you pull it, you can even reset the wolf camp. And most importantly, your mid laner will always have the easiest path to come help you, right? In Gromp area, you're pretty much by yourself. You're really shocked, you're surprised, your abilities are most likely down. You have no clear exit strategy, but on wolf camp, you can just easily go here, but you have to pull the camp slightly towards mid lane. And you can always flash over the wall if it really gets that bad. But realistically, you're not going to be in a bad situation as long as you pull the camp pretty much to the edge of the circle right where I went to. And from here, the Kindred will most likely either spot you and try to fight you. You can just either reset it or, just play off however you want. Or she won't see you at all. You can just play as if you just got the wolf, you got the heist, you're ready to go. And sometimes you want to go check if your Gromp is still up because you don't know if Kindred invaded you. She didn't show yet. You can peek up and just, check up here and just look if Kindred, hey, Kindred, you there? And if you see her, run away, obviously, and go do your Raptor camp. And as this video plays out, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do Raptor, you're going to do Red, your Krugs, and you're going to play as if, the Gromp wasn't available, right? Because the Kindred is going to get the Gromp, but in realistic situations, she is going to be behind because of her pathing. In this situation, you're going to have the red buff later. So if you're going to have the red buff later, you can clear this camp and you can still play for the bot side crab with a red buff advantage against the Kindred. So if you have a laner who can actually collapse, it's going to help you fight if Kindred wants to fight here. There's no chance she can even invade you on the bot side. It's just going to be a very fast clear for you. And this is what I would do as an alternate option against the level 2 cheese if I want to start blue buff. But I recommend you just start red, you drop a ward and you play off that information, and it's really good for your level 2 cheese. Here, let's talk about level 3 cheese. Level 3 cheese honestly isn't as common as level 2 cheese, but level 3 cheese does happen, and it's a sad thing to be the one getting level 3 cheese. So for example, in this game, we're going to be the Diana, we're going to play against the Lee Sin. Most common level 3 cheese will be a very strong jungler like Lee Sin, Rek'sai, Shaco. What you're going to do is start red buff, because red buff, if they start red, they are going to have the power to kind of brawl you and kill you with more, autos. And the most common occurrence, it's going to be because, well, we started blue buff and Lee Sin starts red, we start blue. We do our 3 camps, he does his 3 camps, but instead of going to his bot side, as you can see, he is running to our bot side. And let's say, in this situation, if your pathing is not super slow, you're going to be on Raptors by the time he's entering this area. So pretty much where I'm showing you, this is a realistic time sequence where you're going to have this small window where you can drop a ward right in that brush, or that, I like to drop it right in that brush. I recommend you do it. And if you drop it here, you go and you do your Raptors. Don't start Raptors. First, go drop the ward and then do Raptors. And in this situation, you're going to have the full vision to see if the Lee Sin enters, Lee Sin, Shaco, whoever it is. And this is going to tell you that you're going to be in, he's going to cheese you on red, right? They're going to try to cheese you on red. Finish the Raptor camp. And in this situation, you can walk this path that I showed you, but sometimes you might actually have to walk this path if you see him and he's already like in this area, and you're not going to red. You're never going to go to red here. You're going to Krugs. Skip red buff, just do your Krugs. And if you just do your Krugs in the situation, a lot of times Lee Sin is going to be in a very bad position, because now you're going to be able to get Krugs. You won't have vision on red, but a lot of champions have abilities that can reveal. And after you finish Krugs, what you want to do is actually, either re-enter, fight him on red. But most likely what happens in this situation is, if you have this ward down, your laners are going to notice. Mid is always going to have a first rotation. Your bot lane can always have a first rotation. So there are going to be windows where you're going to be able to fight and take your red buff. And this is what it's all about. It's about being not caught with your pants down, but being prepared and ready to react with either your power or your laner's power. And sometimes if it's really bad, what's going to happen is the enemy bot lane can come first, because the enemy bot lane has a lot of priority. If that happens, then your red is not your red anymore. Just give it up and go and just walk and do top crab in this situation. And you think, okay, well, he got my red. Am I in a bad situation? You're actually in a good situation, because all the time he spends doing red, you are already 2 camps up on him. And what he has to do is go all the way back and do this camp. And if he does this, what happens is he is late on timers, and jungle timers are really important in this meta. And that means you can potentially steal his top side right after. And that's a big thing why cheese is really not that good for the person who's doing it, unless they catch you with your little pants down and kill you on red buffs. So We don't want to be caught there. We want to be careful. This is pretty much vice versa with blue buff. All you got to do is do wolf camp. You can drop your ward on the blue buff and then do gromp afterwards. And that's how you kind of want to avoid dying to, the Lee Sin. That's why I say a lot of times blue buff is the most dangerous spot to be in when you're going to get cheese. Same thing with red buff. When you're on the buff itself, it's really dangerous. Krugs is really easy to escape. And also Gromp, in this situation, it's easy to escape. And after, you're going to be pretty much set to go. And that's how you deal with level 3 cheese. Make sure you drop that ward in the position that I talked about. The brush is really important. And just be aware of what champions you're playing against and if they can actually do the cheese. So now we're going to talk about full clear. Full clear is the most common thing in the game right now. It's the most important thing. You should play your game generally 99% of the time with the idea of full clearing, right? Full clearing, if you can just full clear and nothing bad happens to your laners, that's a-okay, that's the goal. But a lot of times something bad might happen, and a lot of times the other jungler might full clear and match you in that situation. For here, it's actually the opposite. This is an example of when you're going to play jungle, you're going to full clear, and well, you're going to show up, you're going to farm your jungle, you're having a good time, vibes are great, You're going to be on a crab, and you're going to notice, well, there's no one else here. There's no enemy jungler on crab. What does that mean? It means the other jungler started the opposite side as you, right? So if you end up on the jungle, on the crab, and then the jungler isn't there, you can make the assumption already that the enemy jungler started on the side the crab is at, right? So if I'm Lee Sin, you're Lee Sin, she started, as you can see, red buff, and she's going to be on the bot side crab. So what's important is to identify this right away. We are in an opposite way, situation. And what that means is pathing is really good for you to just track timers. I don't even need to see the camp. We can already make the calculation that this jungle camp, most likely Kindred starts red. Krugs are our second camp. This will respawn at 4 minutes. And 20 seconds, right? So we make the calculation. Krugs will be back up at 4:20. And if she was, for example, playing against like maybe a Raptor solo champion, so it could easily be a Kane. This means he will start Raptors. It will respawn at 4 minutes. So this is information we want to play around. Right away, your mind should be thinking about this, okay? I don't see a Kindred. I don't see any jungler. I'm doing crab. The other main jungler isn't just, AFK chilling here for no reason, right? Majority of the time, they're just on the opposite side because once you're on crab for a while, they're not going to show that exactly what it means. You have two options here. What you want to do is finish crab and then either gank top. If top is gankable, you want to go gank. You might as well gank it because there's no risk involved because the Kindred hasn't shown. She is most likely bot side killing your bot lane, so might as well you return the favor, go kill her top laner. But if top lane is really not that gankable, your second thing you should do, which is an important habit, is to go and drop a ward right here on the enemy Raptor. And I always like to do this before I base. Sometimes I hit the blue pant and it reveals the timer towards the crowd camp and I drop the ward. This is a great habit, a really important thing. No gank, okay, go drop this ward, do this, reset. There's no violence in your first clear, but that's okay because you got some good vision information and the Kindred isn't going to have a good time knowing that you have full vision in her bot side. So here we have a much more common situation. You start top side, enemy jungler starts top side, you're both pathing towards the same lane and it's pretty much going to be matching clears, right? Mirror clears. And this is where a lot of randomness can occur. This is the most important part about jungle pathing, when you have to match the other jungler and you're going to have to make some very important decisions, right? This is where there's going to be conflicting views, conflicting information, randomness, and this is the core that I'm going to really go into detail and show you exactly how to deal with this situation, right? So obviously League of Legends isn't a vacuum. It's not me versus this other, discussing jungler. It's laners. Laners make the biggest difference for jungle. And a lot of people when they're jungle pathing, they don't know what to do with laner information, right? They don't know what to do when their laners are top laners, or like a Camille versus Aatrox matchup, and they don't know what to do if the ball lane matchup is another thing that's on their plate, right? But matchups make the jungle path, right? In this situation, we talked about the most important thing is when two junglers are on the same side and they're pathing towards the same end goal. What you're going to notice is that matchups are very important. In this situation, Camille versus Aatrox, if we're pathing away from that top matchup, it's irrelevant, right? Once we pass the halfway point, this top matchup is gone. We don't think about it because we think about what's on the plate next, which is both junglers' mind. The full clear path, the pathing that takes us towards the bot side, the pathing that takes us towards the crab, and the bot side matchup. So in this situation, this is where it gets real dicey, right? We both see it. This is a matchup where MF Nautilus is our bot lane versus the Jinx Janna. So in your mind, level 1 for bot lane is the most important thing. Level 1 champions, what you need to focus on when you want to know how does a bot lane matchup happen? How do I predict what's going to happen bot lane? You look at support matchups first. Nautilus is a hook champion. Level 1, he's actually very strong into a range enchanter support. Even though Nautilus is a support, he doesn't have he doesn't have, you know, range autos. Janna is a range support, she has range autos. Nautilus hook gives him the advantage to be able to hook someone in and really beat them down. And because he's paired with MF, who's really strong early as well, Nautilus is going to give himself and your bot lane priority, right? And also when you have a Nautilus, a hook support, he's a setup champion. It makes it even better for you to path bot because you have a champion who can set up, hook, and make it really spicy in the bot lane. In that situation, you plays out exactly as I say. If I see this bot lane, I already know how it's going to play out. It's going to be in my favor as a Nocturne. So if we path normally how we usually, Nocturne Volibear pathing timer it's probably going to be the same. Boom, the Volibear is dead. We've done our job. We killed the Volibear because he was greedy and he thought he could fight bot side, but we have the stronger bot side. Why? Because we have the bot lane that has the push. We have the bot lane that has engage ability or just stronger 3v3 right now. And right from the beginning, we should already have known this, right? Because once we path to this side, we have to be looking at the bot side. This is the most important thing about securing a crab when we're against 2 crab matchups. And the most important thing is understanding how to do it. And this is a situation where it's in our favor, right? Volibear, he probably wanted to fight because he thought, well, if the enemy team balling the MF Nautilus are pushing, they're probably gankable. That's a rookie mistake because if you're pushing, the enemy jungler is also pathing here. You're going to die because they have the support who can move first. They have stronger champions who can move first. And the Jinx and Janna are under tower trying to catch a wave. It's never good to be the Volibear in this situation, and you don't want to be fighting for crab. But what do we do if we are the Volibear in this situation? Let me show you exactly what you're going to be doing. So in this exact situation we talked about, we are the Volibear. Top matchup, it's irrelevant. They are fighting, but we're also pathing away from them. So we focus on is the bot side matchup. And here we can see the same thing happens. The MF Nautilus are going to get priority bot lane. Nautilus's hook is really strong. Janna, Jinx are not that strong to even contest a champion like Nautilus MF to get the hook off. So what Volibear has to do is exactly this. Once you finish your full clear as Volibear, you don't even bother go bot crab. You just say, okay, I'm not having any of this. I'm going straight to the top crab. And that's exactly what you want to do. You just spend the time to go top crab. You get your crab. You don't really miss out on much. Should be your reaction, so you don't go and try to gank against this lane. Your Jinx and Janna aren't going to help you. You're going to be pretty much all on your own, and you're a strong champion, right? You could mess up the enemy bot lane if your bot lane was a different combo. Like if you had, you know, Kai's and Nautilus or something, or if you had some stronger bot lane combo, you would probably win. But because that's not in your game, that's not the matchup you have to play as if you're avoiding that situation, and getting the crab will pretty much guarantee that you're going to have a good early game. So let's say you're Volibear, but the bot lane matchup is different this game. You actually have maybe a better bot lane matchup. You still want to play for full clear. You're still going to do top the bot. Nocturne is doing top the bot. So you do have to match and play with that information. But let's look at bot lane. This matchup, the matchup is crucial. The matchup is the most important thing. In this game, we have Jinx, but Janna, but that's the exact same bot lane we had last game, but the enemy bot lane is Vayne Braum. So this is where things start to change a bit. It shifts the vacuum that we're in. Now Vayne Braum is not Nautilus. Braum is a very common melee support, but he's not a hooker. He's not a champion who can force power in the bot lane like a Nautilus, hook champ, a Thresh can, or Rel. Braum is going to just get destroyed level 1, even by a weaker bot lane combo like Jinx Janna. So in this situation, Vayne is also not helping the situation. Braum is going to just struggle. He's level 1 is not that good. He needs to fight against another melee support. So here we are the Volibear, we full clear, and we're actually going to have a great time here because as you can see the video play out, The Poro King himself died because he tried to fight for priority, because maybe the Nocturne was spamming and hey, I need priority, I want ball crab, but it's impossible with a lane matchup like Braum versus like a range support, and also impossible with a Vayne as well. So it's a double terrible situation. And this situation, you pretty much cannot get the crab, but because you are a jungler, you want the crab, and well, look at that. You die to the Volibear and to the Janna, right? So in this situation, even the exact same ball lane combo, it's a big difference on what you're playing against, right? There are a bunch of combinations that can really affect your game. And for Nocturne, we could do the exact same thing we did with the Volibear. Instead of, you know, what we talked about, doing the Krug or trying to play for boss side crab, we see the priority is terrible, we just go straight to the top crab. What Volibear did is what we want to do as the Nocturne. When we understand the bot matchup is really bad, all we want to do is finish our full clear and go towards the top crab. Volibear could be a type of champion who could cross and fight you, but at that point, that's what you're going to try to do. And it's better than just dying for no reason. So that's important reaction for you to have. But let's say you're a jungler who just wants to win bot lane no matter what your bot lane combo is. You may have a really bad combo, but you want to win bot lane. It is possible. In this situation, the exact situation, you can make it work. You're going to full clear, you're going to do your 3 camps, you're going to do your raptors, you're going to do your red buff, but after red buff, this is where you're going to change your options. So instead of trying to play a full clear versus full clear match, you're going to have to skip a camp. And a lot of times you're either going to do is what I like to do in this situation is I do 3 camps and then I do red. I don't do raptors. I don't do krugs. I do red. And after doing red, I go straight bot and I gank them. That's always going to be an option if you want to do a skip camp. It means you're going to be able to gank bot before a full clear jungler even has a chance. And also it's going to be a situation where you can gank bot before the dominance of the other laner takes advantage, right? They're going to be level 2 still. They're not going to be destroying each other yet. So if you can get the red buff and then go bot, you're going to have a chance to turn the table. And here in this situation, because I'm going bot, because I skipped the camp, I can tell Braum to just flash in, to try to hit a Q, try to hit ability, just all in the bot lane because I'm going to be there to help you. And a lot of times if the enemy laner is playing push to priority, they're going to be pushed up in a position that you can really take advantage of. And that's a way you can actually win and take that boss side camp. And the Volibear is going to be pretty much no can-do position. He's not going to be able to fight. He's most likely going to just skip and go towards his top crab, right? That's another example of, you know, just jungle pathing, how to react, how to skip a camp if you really want to win bot. But realistically, this is a game about full clear. I want you to full clear and play for the other crab. If you can't get one crab, you just play for the other one. Skipping camps can work, but it can also be a risk that you don't generally want to take. Only be sure about it when you know what you can do. And this is going to be pretty much the first part about my jungle pathing guide. I'm going to do some more videos to talk about even more potential matchups, even more potential pathing that you can possibly have, and a lot of more important habits that can add to your gameplay. If you like the video, if you like this entire video, be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to be making a lot more, you know, educational content. Let me know in the comments what kind of stuff you want to see. Good luck on your games, good luck on your climb, and I'll see you guys in the next video.